line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up. Finger to the sky and a green light shining bright. The only thing I have in mind is the finish line. Check the read.
It's another beautiful day here down in Concord, North Carolina, here from the daytime to the nighttime. It's time for the night case, showtime for the Next Gen Cup Series and BackFire Sim Racing here on the show for BTM Racing TV Live. 200 laps to the distance. Time to find out which of these drivers can outdo the endurance that is Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader, Chris Richard, joining you here tonight as we are presenting to you live here for the first time this season the Charlotte Motor Speedway showcase here with BackFire Sim Racing, as I'll have to try to take down this tough little mile and a half long track. Fast speeds, far corners, and some hard ends and some turns that'll even make yourself kind of wince in pain a little bit just thinking about the overall circumstance situation you get yourself into. The wind though here definitely holding up. Weather pretty good out here as well. Pretty good skies for Charlotte Motor Speedway, especially during this time of the year. Definitely going to make for some hard racing for our 19 drivers on the field. So let's bring him down to the track. Grading order time. Matthew Rodriguez, your number 1 qualifier, and the number 57 is outside. Alexander Carfon, the 99. Row number 2, Robert Kenny, as he will pilot up. And the number 10 is outside. Ricky Gonzalez, the 48. Row number 3 is Carl Handwork, the 51 is outside. Matthew Robinson being the 94. Row number 4, Thaddeus Marshall, the 87 is outside. Wes Fuller, the 35. Row number 5, Blake Owlby in the number 26 is outside. That will be Christian Roos in the 14. Row number 6 is Patrick McQuaid. The 77 is outside. That's Zach Camella as he'll pilot it up down in the number 18. Row number 7, that will be piloted up by Cole Martin. The 45 is outside. Chris Papa, the 13. Row number 8, it's Dylan McDonald there in the number 38 machine is outside. That will be, of course, Brock Savati in the 97. Row number 9 is Tom Bourne. The 16 is outside. That will be Eddie Morris in the 96. Your final starters, Aaron Brown in the 95 and Josh Billiter disqualified already there. They decided that he's not going to be racing tonight, so he'll be keeping an eye on some things down here on the track side. Field marching their way down on the track here. We're ready to get to the action here live on PTM Racing TV, the showcase of Next Gen Cup Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway one more time. Tomorrow night, I'm not spoiling anything. You can go back and look at our Twitter to figure out what we got going on tomorrow. We've got some fun stuff coming your way, some awesome showcase and racing to go with it. We can't wait to talk to you about it. We can't wait to showcase it to you. But for now, let the Next Gens roar to life down here at Concord and bringing them down to the Tri-Oval we go. It's green flag time for the Next Gens. 200 laps to the distance presented by Muffler Man. "17 drivers making the call here. Tom Bourne, the last of them to get out on the track here. Field already moving their way down through the chains out of the gate. Matthew Rodriguez already trying to swerve drivers off him. He does not want anybody to slingshot him on that back straightaway out of the gate. I don't think that's the worst of his problems. I think the worst of his problems is making sure he doesn't burn those tires up out of the gate here. That is a big moment here he needs to be careful of. He's going to have to be very superstitious, very optimistic about this long run setup. This setup tonight, man, is going to test drivers like nowhere else before. Trouble down there for Brock Savati in the 97 is, well, he's got a little love down there for one country here that I will not be bringing too much of, but our thoughts and prayers down there to Ukraine as they're going through these tough times as the caution flies out first time tonight here. Unfortunately, the 45 Cole Martin finds himself being banished to the shadow realm for a second here on the back straightaway. Might have been off to the wrong foot here with that 45. We'll take a look at the PTM Instant Replay presented in part by Muffler Man tonight. Ellen Ford coming on board saying, "Woohoo! Mama Fuller cheering on my Titletown Racing boys." Robert Van Ness saying, "Go 77." Here's a look at what happened to that 45 though. Watch carefully, came right off of turn number 2. You can see just overdrove it the slightest bit. Couldn't get it up to the outside. So rear end kind of snuck its way back through the corners and lifted off of him. Just like an ARCA car, man, once these things lift up from you, they have no control over what comes next. The only thing you can do is just hope for the best. That's exactly the situation that the 45 gets himself into out of the gate. Not the start the drivers were looking for, nor what they were hoping to get out of here, but again, it all comes back evened out later on. Matthew Rodriguez out of the gate, man. You saw him defending and blocking where Robert Kenny and Alexander Jacob Fon were literally on his nose, on his tail. They were trying to make him work for it and make him think about this one just a little bit. Rodriguez is no slouch, man. He knows what these drivers are very much capable of and what they'll bring to the table if they get that chance. They will make him work for it every which way to Sunday. It's a very tricky substance of speed, control, and tire management. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the biggest thing I've always said here is that this place loves to eat tires up and it loves to eat cars up for breakfast if it feels like it. And right now, out of what we saw with, of course, Spartan Logistics Management LLC iRacing IROC Challenge Series last night, we saw those drivers really have to fire on all cylinders to put everything down to the wire and down to the track here. But I think more than anything that they're going to need to be careful of is avoiding consequence and avoiding the situations and circumstances that involve getting just a little too close for comfort on those turns. The back straightaway and the front straightaway, you can see some drivers making some moves and make some passes, but I'll tell you one thing. The one thing you got to be very careful of is when you're coming off this exit right here, you can see this little ridge, a little flat spot off turn number 4. You hit that just right. That rear end literally lifts right up underneath you. The front end has nothing to grip with because the rear end's already taking you out. So at that point, you're just hoping you can just catch a break here. As drivers will get back to the race in action here at lap number 6 here of 200. Pace car has turned the lights off, and it means we're about ready to go back to showtime here on the channel. For those that are new, first off, thank you so much for tuning on in. We certainly hope you'll enjoy this, and if you do want to help support our show and our channel a little bit more, be sure to like and follow us up here on Facebook hit our YouTube, subscribe there so you never miss a show, you never miss the action here. We've got all the races from pretty much most of last year into and all this year now being presented from Facebook, now getting sent over to YouTube, or we're going live on YouTube, and then the rest comes over to Facebook afterwards. So you never want to miss when we go live over there too. There is certainly a lot of showcasing over there to do. Cole Martin was still in pit road for quite a time. Finally got the 45 damaged up and cleaned out of that track now. Trying to avoid, I think really he was just trying to evade using any instant repairs or anything like that. He knows how long this track is going to be and how long this race will take for him. He's planning ahead already, just trying to make sure he does not fall too far behind the 8-ball. Off of turn number 4 this time on by. Pace car will come off the track. Drivers will wheel them right around town and into the green flags. Arms they go. Back to the action. Rodriguez yet again with the advantage out of the start. Robert Kenny though in the number 10 and the 99 Alexander Jacob Fawn now piloting all the momentum back up into their corners here. Moving up on the outside, Alexander Jacob Fawn now looking to make some movement, making some work around the track. Robert Kenny though is the one that is now taking full charge and aim. Fires one right at Matthew Rodriguez. Trouble down there for Dylan McDonald though on the front straightaway. Motor is gone. The car is done for and it's into pit road already. Damaged up bad. Something went wrong down there for him. We're trying to get a camera on that, trying to see a replay of it, but I don't think we're going to get a chance here. Moving the chains on in though. Here, driver's still in a fire pitch here. Oh, huge wreck though, right ensuing on the front straightaway. Spin crashing him out. Blake Howell, Carl Handwork involved in that one. I saw the number 10 of Robert Kenny also getting loose there, and good lord. Well, I guess they wanted to show us whatever happened to Dylan McDonald there. Hard to really tell in that one here. They only have one instant repair, by the way, they can use. So whatever happened to Dylan McDonald, we're about to find out. We'll take a look at Robert Kenny and all of them in just a minute. Here's the initial situation here for the number 38. And looked like McDonald just overdrove turn 4, and you can see that whole car just spun right in a wall. Pit crew is getting out of the way there to avoid getting into that circumstance. And from there, it's pretty much just trying to hope for the best and not get into too much more damage. Here's what happened then with the caution area. This is where the caution came out. See, Carl Handwork got loose. You can see though right out there, Robert Kenny getting loose on his own. Handwork would take the 51 and the 26 with it. There you see that 26 machine. Blake Howell, fortunately, just kind of clobbered off of turn number 4 there. We'll take one more look at it. See right there. Well, actually, Blake Howell's the one that actually got loose and actually got tied up into the wall. I think he was trying to avoid Handwork, and instead the car just kind of drove right into Handwork there, and there was really nothing he can do about it. We'll take a look at the onboard camera here. This is what it looked like. This is the final cam, by the way. Wow, it's just like one of those crazy moments that just kind of pop up from time to time, and you just never can be too sure what will come next around here on these parts. Race fans, drivers now getting settled back down. Things will have to get reorganized yet again. When we come back, the action will kick back up in the race, and will continue on here at Charlotte. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, has been brought to you in part by Muffler Man. You guys never heard of Muffler Man? Well, let me tell you about this. Muffler Man is a mechanic shop that has served customers from all over the country for 20 years. Muffler Man is located on 219 Columbus Road in Athens, Ohio, that performs all sorts of services for all various vehicles, including exhaust maintenance, custom bending, shocks, struts, brake maintenance, oil changes, tire services, and more. You can call Muffler Man at 740-592-3593. That's 740-592-3593 to get your vehicles serviced today. A big thank you to Muffler Man for BackFire Sim Racing, as well as us here at PT Racing TV Studios, for help supporting the show and help supporting this driving scene, the racing scene, of course. So right now, at the moment, the pacing, the field, the control, it's all really just a matter of just time. You see what these drivers can do. Guys like Patrick McQuaid here have been around these parts for quite some time. They know how Backfire works around. They know how to handle their circumstances and situations when they get a little too hectic or a little too crazy. Thaddeus Marshall, much the same. Ricky Gonzalez, always a top tier guy. Really, when he gets it going, get some speed in there. Tom Moore, that 16 though, one thing I'm gonna tell you right now. He's fast and he's a mile and a half, and he's clever. He can be a bit tricky here if you let him get by you and you let him figure stuff out. Chris Papa, much of the same here in his 1-3 team speed, number 13 machine. He's looking to try to get these guys rallied and get the troops going again. Brock Savati giving the old peace and love to Ukraine there on the flags represented on his colors and his team there, as well as a peace sign if you couldn't figure that out. Steak and Shakes 57 here, Matthew Rodriguez, and then Alexander's Kerfon's 99 Kerfon's market. Pretty sweet looking design on that one, I must admit. Kind of reminds me of a retro scheme you would see from an actual Kmart car. It's a nice looking ride, nice little piece of equipment there. Of course, these drivers looking to hit this one on by, get some momentum going. Robert Van Ness saying yoo-hoo. I'm pretty sure he meant woohoo, but if you're saying yoo-hoo, Robert, who are you saying yoo-hoo to, my friend? Well, anyway, let's file them down off turn number 4. Back in restart territory we go. Let's restack, re-rack, and put them back on the attack. Right around the on-side area here of the 35 West floor, moving that that title town race designs 35 into the fight, into the fray. Looking for some momentum boost and looking for some hard cornering action right now as he looks to gain the momentum. John Moore in the 16 doing much of the same here as he works this one on by. Got a huge charge at the 18 here of Zach Comella. Comella was not able to keep this thing on flying, keep it in play. Ended up kind of getting shifted around a little bit. Robert Kenny, much of the same. Oh, maybe not so much now. Trouble for the 18. Can he save it? Well, he got bumped and tagged there, but he manages to bring it back somewhat under control. The 18 didn't quite wreck out, no caution there, but at least the good news is his car is still in one piece to get back out on the racetrack. If I was him, I would just avoid pit road and just let the car do its own thing. There may be damage on that rear end, but that doesn't mean it does not work out. He'll be able to kind of keep himself in play and keep it on the charge if he can just stay focused here. It's 57 though. Rodriguez struggling badly now. The Steak and Shake machine is falling further and further back. What is going on with that machine here? Thaddeus Marshall and Ricky Gonzalez taking full chance and full aim at it for this one. 16 laps now in on the track here, and it's starting to look like some more momentum being pushed in the favor of the guys that were in the farther of the outhouse, trying to get closer to that White House zone. But unfortunately, the 45 of Cole Martin seems to be finding more and more trouble on the front straightaway. Well, actually, it was a back straight last time. This time it's the front stretch. And that's just an unfortunate circumstance. Situation really boiled up on his end. Let's take a look at the replay. Let's get a look at this one here. Got a couple of camera angles here. This is what happened on the first go around. Got stuck on the back stretch, flipped, got spun right around on his own. This time though, well, let's just say he found himself with the packs, if you will, but he also found something else. He found a whole host of drivers kind of creamed in between. That's a bad spot. That's a bad angle to really be stuck into. We'll take a couple more looks at this one. You can see right here, this is just literally this is the part that's going to drive everybody insane today, is just trying to find a way to hold the line down, trying to find a way to hold that car in place and avoid circumstances, even teammates getting collected in there. You saw that 96 and the, looked like that might have been the 95 there, I believe. Couldn't quite get a camera angle on that one there. That actually was the 97 and the 96 here, so those were the ones involved in that one. That was the onboard camera there. Where thankfully we put the camera up on the top side of the roof here instead of on the bottom. We learned our lesson from the last time. Ended up breaking that camera around here. I don't know where it went. It's somewhere here on the track. May just be in a million pieces, but hey, at least it's still working down there. I got word that it's still live streaming actually, so that's one thing we can say. Field facing their way around the track yet again here. We're about 1/10 of the way through this race. And again, the thing about Charlotte Motor Speedway is this track is all about one thing: long haul, long endurance. The driver that can set a standard and set a tone and watch themselves and really pace themselves around the track, they will be able to outweigh and outsmart the rest of the field, and vicariously they'll actually have more of an option and opportunity to really strike it big and strike it home with this track here again, because this is really what I've always said before, is that in these mile and a halves, you can go full throttle action, you can go hard racing action when you want, but really with the 670 horsepower package now, that is completely nullified and changed up to where you got multiple lines to have to work around and find a groove to hit up with. Threat Level Midnight Motorsports saying let's go Kerfon in the chat. They have joined us in here now on the show. Welcome to the show, guys. Alexander Kerfon is the man they're talking about here. That Kerfon's marking 99. He has the race lead in his grasp, in his possession. How long will he be able to keep it, though? That remains to be unseen and unknown. You can see the focus and the determination on these drivers' eyes. Man, there is just no quit, no surrender, no give. I love the feeling of it. I love the attitude there that they bring with it. The AT and Zach Comella, man, right, because I told you earlier on, probably best if he stays out, even though suffering some damage on the rear end. He's up 6 spots here, currently up in 6th place. Moving up quite a few positions here from pit road, and also getting himself a little bit of a chance here now to take aim at the guys that were getting him a little bit squirrely, a little sideways and long ways and short ways. Through the packs, through the fields right now, Kerfon, Gonzalez are the two heavy hitters and the front runners to go along the track. Who is going to be able to output and outsmart the other, though? We're going to find out now as the green flag flies high in the air. For for the first rungs, the first set of turns here. Now drivers looking for every kind of opportunity to make quick and easy passes here before having to then find a way to get into a certain rhythm, certain groove, and stay on that momentum pole and stay in position to strike it big here. Like how on the onboard camera here, got Zach Camilla here right in front of him. Damaged up by a little bit on the 18 machine. The rear end kind of kicked up and switched around a little bit. Definitely is not going to help his cause any when it comes to holding the line down, but that don't think it means too much for him. Zach on board now. Moving some G Fuel 16 up into the fight, into the fray. Look at him moving up the chains. Matthew Rodriguez, a little trouble down there. Same for the 14, Christian Roos. And Roos bringing the car back from the grave and almost dead set on holding that line down, but he's got Kyle Handworth now right behind him, looking to take aim at it. The onboard camera here with Bruce right now as he continues to just keep a solid, steady pace and steam here. You can see by those RPMs there, he is keeping a close, clear-cut angle on 8,000 on the straights. Almost pitching upwards of 9,000 plus here. Yeah, he's actually in the 9,000 as he goes into those turns on the straightaways. So he knows that he's got to get them the RPMs wise, but he's also needing to be very careful about overdoing that throttle because, again, once those rear tires start to get kicked up a little bit, the right fronts and right rears get a little burned, shredded off. Car then becomes pretty much a missile target for anyone that overdrives a corner. And the only missile target usually will get to exactly on time and on place is usually that old wall down there. Down board now. I was not surprised with this one here. He's already moving up the chains and moving up the field a bit. Kinda had to expect that out of him. Kind of expecting him to be doing stuff like this. Here's Zach Camilla. A little bit of problems down here in the 18 machine. Slows down a little bit. Gets a little off pace and off the throttle here. We had a camera on him as that happened. Another look at it shows the replay. Look at this. Matthew Rodriguez here. Strong run here up to Carl Handworth. But you can see the 18. Just a slight bobble. And looked like he was trying to turn into the car we're going to see here tomorrow night as we're going to showcase a little rallycross action here for the first time ever on Pete Race TV. It'll be the first showcase ever for these drivers and first showcase ever for that kind of racing style. Cannot wait to see it. Cannot wait to show it here. Here's what happened to the 13-1-3 of Chris Papa. Got tagged up by Thaddeus Marshall here and ended up going for quite the ride. Good save there for the most part. Kyle Handworth even having troubles yet again. Turn number 4. Definitely biting a few of these drivers as caution flag is out. The caution is out at the moment. Yeah, I think we might be having a little bit of trouble getting off the instant replay here. Hold on a minute. Technical difficulties. There we go. I think we got it. Do we got it? Alright, awesome, awesome. Sorry about that, guys. Caution was out there. Matthew Rodriguez, unfortunately, damaged up badly here. I'm not really sure what happened exactly to him or what went wrong there in the 57. We'll take a look at the PTM instant replay. Looks like he took a huge, huge hit here. So this is the circumstances that happened to the Steak and Shake 57 Ford Mustang. Let's take a look at this one. Comes right down out of turn number 3. Looks like he was okay. Then he caught the apron. And oh man, what a wild ride. Front end just clips in there, and he pretty much was sideways and every which way to Sunday. He had nowhere to go and really nowhere to get out of. And that 57 is totaled up badly here. He'll have to accept the damages or he's going to have to get an instant repair done. Whatever he decides will be his call. Drivers will get squared away here in pit road now. The drivers are heading down there as we speak. Thaddeus Marshall, the 7, taking a little love tap there from Robert Kenny in the 10. I think he's not too thrilled about him with something. What that might be, I have no idea. So off pit road, Blake Howell was going to stay out. Tom Bourne gets the better of Alexander J. Griffon. And looks like Ricky Gonzalez, Carl Hamworth will round out the top 5 in this case here from pit road's exit. Patrick McQuaid here in the 77 will move up 5 spots for this march, this charge. The rest of the field just kind of getting squared away here. They want to try to make the best out of this circumstance and out of the situation they're going to be brought to, of course. Field getting wrapped back around here, double filing up to the position here. Blake Howell, Tom Bourne will be the 2 front runners. Blake Howell has the start, of course. Brent Lowe coming on board saying, "Good evening, sir. How was your Friday?" Brent, pretty good, my man. It's kind of an average Friday for me. I didn't really do much other than just kind of be with the friends and get ready to study up a little bit of Charlotte Motor Speedway again. You can also get a little bit time to view out the fans here around your Concord. It's that kind of weather where I was out here, though. What about you guys? How y'all doing down there tonight? Bet you one thing, some of these guys right now are really getting more and more into this race as they start to get a little closer to their vantage points and to their haymaking ends. A lot of focus and determination from these drivers are going to be very much on the ragged edge throughout this event, throughout the show, of course, because they know they have got to get these cars just dialed onto the track again with those aerodynamics and that chassis down there really holding these things to the bottom and holding them on charge and online while still being a very difficult car to master. It really makes for an interesting get-up, a little bit of a different situation. Oh yeah, by the way, first time I ever tried a Next Gen Cup car actually was right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And that was really when they brought them right out for the first time. I bought all 3 of them and got all taken care of, and I just was like, I need to go try these things out, see what they do. I ran it here, and my thoughts are about the same, are about as completely 180 as I can say here today. I could go full throttle, and I just did not leave off the throttle no matter what I did on the track. I had drivers really trying to pass me, and I would just hold the bottom still, and I'd block every run they came from. It wasn't until later with the updates, and then finally with that addition to the 670 horsepower with the 4-inch spoiler they finally added in to make it more realistic. That's when I tried it again, and I soon realized that if you try to dare go full throttle on those corners, you may want to find a place to hide. Brent Loke saying, doing wonderful after his day on Friday. Brent, awesome to hear this, sir. Good to hear the fans all tuned in and enjoying themselves. Now it's time to get back down to the action here once again. Firing them off down to the green flag restart zone. We're going to be back underway, back to the action. of guys getting loose, getting lopsided here, trying to just hang on. Blake Howell, man, staying out of pit road and just kind of staying out of the track. He's going to lead a lap or two in to get up some bonus points here. Fawn not really laying too much attention or paying no mind to him, not too worried about what goes down there. Tom Bourne and Kerfon battling back and forth. Blake Howell trying to hold these guys down just a little bit more, maybe make them battle a little bit quicker down there so they can burn tires up and burn their cars up just so he doesn't have to worry about it. Kerfon, though, definitely does not play by those rules in his mind. He will move the chains on down to the bottom lane of Blake Howell. And Blake Howell now trying to hold up somewhat on the outside to block the runoff. If Kerfon can get a good run from top to bottom back to the top, then he can make some serious lap work here. Tom Bourne was well aware of that. He knew the risk and knew the damage that could be possessed there, and that's exactly what he needed to see. Tom Bourne now looking to try and draft up on the 99 and maybe make a move here. Remember, he started back in 17th spot. He's 15 spots up right at this moment here. You want to talk about a hard charger? I think he might be your guy tonight. Ricky Gonzalez down, right down below Carl Hamwork here as the 48 tries to dig down deep inside, look for a run, look for some speed, looking for some momentum. Every single one of these drivers, man, they are keeping themselves clear of trouble, keeping themselves right on the headshot line and in the limit zone. The limitless of them all, though, unfortunately, not same can be said for the 10 of Robert Kenny. Kenny has been sent back to South Park because I think Cartman has done his usual. See what happens here to number 10 of Robert Kinney here. This is a tough situation yet again. Turn number 4 once again bites another driver. We saw last night a lot of drivers struggling to hold their line down on that end of the track. Once they started to slow up a little bit and kind of let the car dictate the pace, dictate the control, that's when everything changed. But unfortunately, the same cannot be said there in the case for the 10. That is a tough break there for him and his crew. Looked like he was doing everything he could just to try to keep that thing online and play here, but it did not play out exactly the way he hoped for. The 97 here at Savatzi now battling hard here with the number 18, maybe looking to see if he can make Camilla think about this one just a little bit. Brent Lowe coming on board asking me if I have raced the Coliseum yet. If so, what are my thoughts? Brent, well, if I'm going to be dead honest with you, as I usually am on these broadcasts, my thoughts are pretty much plain and simple like this. I think the track is an awesome track to run under the right cars and the right drivers. And what I mean by that is, really, I will say these next gens, if they could bend in a little bit and put some fenders a little bit more closer together, I think that'd be alright to race. The cars I like to really battle with, though, on that track, and I'd like to use, were the Legends, the Street Stocks, a little bit of those late models if you have the right guys. The Super Lates were a bit of a handful, but they made for a good competition. The next gens could be done, but they were very tough to keep going with. But I will say, probably the car that impressed me most was probably, yeah, the Street Stocks and the Legends. So, if you're gonna run a race there, I'd honestly go with something a little bit slower. Something that kind of can take a little bit of fender, take a bit of a push or two off of. I do know, though, that there's been some leaks going around of the notable Banger front-wheel drive dirt car. And there has been told that they will have an asphalt version of it in due time, as well as the box Chevrolet Monte Carlo version of a Street Stock. So, I'm going to say, honestly, I'd wait for those cars to come out before maybe looking into the Clash if you'd want, or if you already liked what the cars I just mentioned, then that's certainly something you can go with. But I think Zach Camilla probably is not thinking about wanting to drive a Street Stock anymore. I think he's just trying to find a way to get this next-gen Cup car to slow down just enough to control the track, because he is having all sorts of problems here on these turns. I think a lot of that has to do with the speed control here. He's having a major malfunction with it, but here's when we look at the replay. CBC AT machine here. just taking a huge hit off turn 4 yet again. You saw him trying to save it, but as soon as he was on the front straightaway, really wasn't much he could do. Drivers had to stand clear of him and avoid it, and they definitely did more than just avoid it, but I think Zach right now is not too happy about this one, not too thrilled to say the least. Watch the steering here. You can see the car kind of, right as he goes up that hill, you saw him steer it off right. He was trying to save it. You can see him kind of getting back on the gas. Now, here's the overall issue I have right there is you see him trying to get back on the gas. That is a natural circumstance. As drivers, we've kind of grown accustomed to that. We've kind of grown accustomed to having that situation pop up, but with these next gens, it's the opposite. You gotta basically back off the throttle, use the brake, make sure you're squared away, make sure you're in the right gear, and then gas it up. That way the car has some leeway and some leverage so you don't lose the momentum and you don't lose the car itself. It's extremely difficult to do, but if you can time it, man, you can time it, and that's exactly what these drivers are struggling to do right at this moment. But race fans, when we come back, there is certainly still plenty of action to go. Not reached halfway mark just yet. We're going to see if these drivers can get this one played around in full up position. Still plenty of action to come here on PT Racing TV. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by the good friends over at Muffler Man. If you haven't heard the Muffler Man, well, they are the mechanic shop that has serviced up customers from all over the country for 20 years straight. They are located on 219 Columbus Road in Athens, Ohio, that performs all sorts of services for all various vehicles, including exhaust maintenance, custom bending, shocks, struts, brake maintenance, oil changes, tire services, and more. You can call Muffler Man at 740-592-3593. Again, that is 740-592-3593 to get your vehicle serviced today. A big thank you from BackFire Sim Racing as well of us all here at PT Racing TV Studios. Well, fifth caution of the day so far as we're nearly 1/4 the way through this race so far at the moment. So one thing that is cool to know here, race fans, if you're not on the iRacing side of things, you're not in the service itself, I think maybe it might be a good time to get into it, especially if you're a dirt track kind of driver, you're in that kind of race, or you're in a kind of oval racing, because this Tuesday night, we will have an update that finally brings out a couple new tracks and possibly a couple new cars. I mentioned earlier about that one little car we've been seeing kind of floating around here. It is not confirmed yet. It's leaked image, but hopefully it's real because honestly, I really want to drive that thing. But I'll tell you something right now, folks. We've got a huge mission at hand. An announcement was made just today. I-55 Speedway at last is coming to iRacing. The 3rd mile banked in track in Missouri is going to be one for the record books, and I'll tell you right now from this dirt boy, it will definitely be trying out very soon. So I am already in touch with people trying to get them to get that track on the roster and get that onto the speedway, onto the show as soon as possible. I'm hoping we can get it here in the next couple months here, if not a couple weeks here from now. But I can't make promises. Our schedule is pretty much booked beyond belief, and there's a lot going down. So I guarantee we are going to do our absolute best to get the new content on the show and onto the track. But without really anyone wanting to run them, we can't promise nothing. So be very well aware of that. Although I said the same thing about what Brent Logue was talking about with the Coliseum. If we're going to ever get that one on the show, well, we got it on pretty much almost right away. So we called us up one day. It was like, hey, we're going to throw the next gen cup cars there. You guys want to broadcast it? Heck yeah, we do. If you guys ever do need a broadcast, by the way, here, every other Monday and every other Tuesday is now opened up. So be sure to message us up at PT Racing TV here on the Facebook side of things. We'll show you the package deals and show you everything you need to see to get yourself a nice broadcast and showcase here done by us. We're always here to give out the best and the brightest, and our goal and mission at hand is still to broadcast every single iRacer that wishes to be a part of the community and be a part of the group. We want to show that it's not just for the high-end street racers, for the high-end luxurious guys, or even just those mid-city slickers. We're showing it's for everyone, from the lowest to the highest of ranks. It's all about getting everyone a chance here on Pizza Racing TV. Alright, bringing him down out of turn number 4 this time on by here. 46 laps will be put into the books. BackFire Sim Racing certainly still has their handful, and certainly a lot of drivers still that could easily take this one home and field this one into the vantage point. To the restart zone, Alexander J. Kerfon leads the boys on in. Well, Kerfon may have led the first set, may have led these guys in a little bit of position in 2. There's still a lot of breathing room and a lot of heavy hitters now kind of moving their way into the track. Off turn number 4 here, Thaddeus Marshall in the A7 now going deep in, skip outside, looking for a ride or two, looking for some momentum. Tom Bourne in the bottom lane here in the 16, trying to make it come quicker as it can be. Blake Howell also strengthening the numbers, strengthening the foul speeds up here on that high Banks end. Charlotte Motor Speedway certainly a unique banked end track with some steep cliffs and some steep hits. One thing I've always said though is that the one spot that I always get extremely nervous about is when you're having to go uphill and then down slope. Off the entries and the exits, it makes drivers really not misjudge and misconcept what can go down there. Battle for the race lead though. Ricky Gonzalez looking to be the man to take charge, take center aim here. He's got that 99 of Alexander J. Kerfon right in his line of sight, right in the line of play. Kerfon trying to hold the middle line to keep it from going too quickly on the bottom, but it's not enough. Ricky Gonzalez will take the race lead away. Just when you think you got a nice little handle, nice little grip of the track, may we introduce to you the situation that involves having to fire it around down on this spot. Battle back and forth here. Kerfon now looked like he got kind of tired of waiting around. He is deciding to make a change and make a shape of it now. Moves the fight on in. Well, Carl Handwerk certainly not going to take any prisoners here. Looks like he may be looking to make a move, chain or two off these guys. 16 and Tom Bourne here dealing with that 46 of Ricky Gonzalez. Gonzalez trying to keep somewhat of a change in line here. Knows the momentum is farther and further out. As caution flag flies out here, looks like we're going to a stage break, I presume. No drivers have wrecked out. No one's gotten squared out of here, so I presume that was a stage break. Drivers undoubtedly are going to be figuring out their pit road entry and exit here, looking for some opportunities and opportunistic shots here to really take full aim at these guys. As they must and as they shall. Kerfan will be the front runner up into pit road, as Gonzalez will follow right back behind. Carl Haywork also in that hunt, in that mix. Thaddeus Marshall, Wes Fuller. See who get out of pit road here quickest here out of the positions. And looks like there's going to be a little bit of a move change here. Looks like Thaddeus Marshall and Wes Fuller, Carl Haywork all moving up. Kerfan gets out of pit road the fastest though, so it'll be the number 1 out. Ricky Gonzalez, Tom Bourne, Carl Haywork, and Thaddeus Marshall coming out in the top 5. Entering this little tidbit here, of course, seeing one of the home tracks of NASCAR, one of the founding tracks that ever really put NASCAR on the map and on the schedule. It was really one of those places that you kind of look at and you think to yourself, it's a very breathtaking facility, a very beautiful facility, but unfortunately in the recent years, the racing has not quite lived up to the reputation of its old school predecessors and its nature. But I can say fully now that may change this year, because we saw what happened in actual NASCAR with the Auto Club, Daytona, of course, and of course that LA Coliseum race. It's been a whole different momentum and a whole different situation or two popped up in between. That to me is exemplifying what we are about to witness, what we're about to see down the road and down the line. Now, I'm very interested to see what they can do Sunday night at Las Vegas, or Sunday afternoon, I should say. I think those next gens are going to really, this season, going to be the testament of pure racing, pure skill, rather than just getting lucky from aerodynamics or really any kind of bad airflow around the cars. That's exactly to me what it should always be about, and that's what we're hoping for. Alan Flores saying, woohoo! And Ricky there looks like she loves what she sees and wants to see a little bit more of it. Gonzalez definitely made quite a few big moves there and some big shots on the end. See if we can continue to do that here and keep all the play in position. Next week, though, well, let's just say we're going to be following 2 game schedules here again, because it'll be Talladega and Talladega on the circuit Thursday and Friday. The next gens will be piloted down there, and no, we swear that both leagues did not work with each other on setting these schedules up. It just kind of happened like that. Believe me when I say it, though, folks, cannot wait to see what will transpire, what will be fired off in there. Off of turn number 4 here, drivers now getting squared back away here. Field will get continuous action here, continuous momentum. Pace car off of the track, now back down on the section. Green flag flies out. Kerfan leads the field on in, and the Kerfan's marking number 99. Bringing him down right off of the back straightaway here. Field getting a huge burst of momentum and a lot of run towards the ends here. Guys trying to find momentum, trying to find some control over the car here. Yet again, they're going to put them into that draft side here. Maybe try to keep them in one piece and under control here. They'll blank out. Unfortunately, maybe not the same here. And the grassy plain sends the car upwards and a little bit, tending up to be a bit. Couldn't quite get him, couldn't quite stay out of trouble there, unfortunately. Field pacing its way around Chris Papa and Christian Roos here in the 13 and 14 respectively. Top 10 drivers here looking to use their team allegiance to the team alliance here with 1-3 speed and hope for the best. Of course, we saw with you some motorsports, Zach Camilla and Bachelor McQuaid trying to help each other out a little earlier on. The only other team here today here is JKR Motorsports here with Eddie Morris, Rock Savati, and Alexander Kerfan. Kerfan's always been the guy to watch out for and been the guy to really just completely nullify and take these guys to their limits. Brett Lowe saying in the cap, what would make it super cool and more realistic if Iris would show the pit crew while they're making a pit stop. Well, they kind of got it with us there when you're actually racing on your own terms. If you actually like go and race and then you broadcast yourself later or look at the cameras, it does show you actually with your pit crew and everyone moving around and getting the tires on the car. It's just it doesn't quite do it for everyone else like it should, as you say. But as we look towards the future, maybe there might be a little bit of a change in there, because as the change is being progressed here, the 16 and Mr. Bourne already making Kerfan think about this one a little bit. Trouble down there. It looks like Thaddeus Marshall on the A7 got a little too hard on the throttle and now lost all his momentum. This battle forth yet again between the 99 and the 16. Something to be treasured up on, really to keep an eye out, because that opens the door up for the 48 of Ricky Gonzalez to make a man move here if he wants to. Carl Hamburg literally just kind of pushing and shoving that thing around as much as he can, trying to make a move here too. You can hear that throttle rhythm. He's trying to stay very, very clear of over-accelerating and overdoing himself. He knows he can go quite full out long run here, but that does not mean he should do, or nor should he ever think about bringing it in. And the 16 of Bourne now taking the race lead off from Kerfan. Kerfan, you see a little swivel there. Again, that's the steering pinion as tight as it is, and literally as sharp ended as it is. It literally will make you think twice about trying to sharply turn that thing around. You've got to keep these things straight, and simply put, you've got to make sure they are solid and stabilized, or else, really, nothing else but trouble lies in your future, my friends. Patrick McQuaid now in the 77, moving the chains up from Carl Hamburg here. Hamburg had a little bit of a run earlier on. McQuaid trying to hold down that 51. Hamburg, though, not giving an image, not giving him any chances here. Warren Kerfan still back and forth with one another. We saw this last night as well when the drivers found a way to catch up with one another and get right up to each other. They just said to heck with it. Let's just go at it one at a time, side by side, one mano a mano, and see who can get the better of the other. Bourne and Kerfan, neck and neck, trading paint, trading, swiping slots, swiping leads, one and another, not giving an inch. tell you one thing that's does not ever get tiring, and that maybe not be too realistic, but it still is very much realistic in my eyes. It's just when two drivers putting their noses, putting their fenders into one another here, just trying to see who is truly the best of the best and who is the brightest of them all. Dogs watching on, not just from the front, but from the back here. Wes Fuller in the 35 now, moving his chains up a little bit, trying to yank him back. Maybe yank him around a little, maybe make him think about this one. Knows he's kind of in a tough ordeal, kind of in a tough little spot. Patrick McQuaid, and he's still now dealing with and dealt with Carl Hamburg. And we're going up top side though, got sent up to the Shadow Realm area, and McQuaid sends this one far, far away and gets himself in to the top 5 spots now. He is currently in 5th place. And can Hamburg get something going? Can he get a little bit more speed? We've seen him do it before here on the show. Carl Alexander Kerfan now looked like he has manipulated and used up Tom Bohr as much as he needed to and put him back a little bit around the track here. Looking to swing it on down for a little bit of a trip to the Shadow Realm. Ron, man, he's one of those guys you just cannot take lightly whatsoever. He's one of the drivers in that big team with JKR Motorsports who undoubtedly have been an absolute thorn in many drivers' sides when it comes to trying to beat them out on the track here in multiple occasions, multiple races that we've seen throughout these shows, the appearances, as well as maybe just in general from the official side. They have no trouble really using their own little leverage and bringing their own weight down on the drivers and on the track. That's exactly what we've been seeing time and time again, and that's really, in my opinion, the biggest thing that kind of comes with doing the sport and kind of doing this race justice. Dawson and Fuller now have pushed themselves right up into the fight zone between these two that are really just keeping it going here. Brent Loke saying, love watching these races though, it's so awesome. Brent, yeah, it really is. Always appreciate you coming on board and commenting away, my friend. 4 drivers for the race lead. Somebody's going to have to give an inch here. Someone's going to have to give this one up. Either way, the top 5 here being showcased on your screen. This is the difference in time zones here that they have against one another. It's not much of an opportunity to really take a look at or really take a full expression of, but they can see the difference between Fuller and McQuaid, top 5 there. And it's literally a 0.2 of a second difference. Or excuse me, a full second, I should say. That's shared them around and really bringing them around the track more than anything here. Right now, back on the show here, back through the field, and the 18, the 14 going, hey, maker wire to wire here, Roos and Comella. Right now, looking to try and hold down the 14's power though, but Roos is still not done. He's indifferent to losing out on top spots. He's indifferent to really giving himself into a bad spot. He wants to show the CBC esports community that 14 is here to stay. As much as that 1-3 speed team would love nothing more than to take a few drivers down with them. The 18 now diving it down on the 14 here, looking for a momentum boost here, a little bit of a shot. And the smallest pit pretty much being kind of a pit viper out here and just striking back as soon as he got kind of caught off in a bad spot there. Moving the chains on down just a little bit more. Gonzalez and Kerfon, man, they are still neck and neck with one another. Tom Bourne seems like he's either backed off the throttle and let Kerfon have his fun, or he literally just kind of let him by there yet again. But this time, this is not the same situation. This is not the same circumstances. You can see Bourne is actually now starting to make Kerfon kind of dread and think about this one a little bit. I do not believe we have any more stage breaks, although I think if there was, there may be one more, and it would be at the halfway point, I would think. The way Bourne's racing right now, though, I know he is dead set, dead aimed out. Even skilled and even peeled to make everything work for his own end, his own line. And the caution flag does fly out here, though, so now it looks like we're going to have to slow things back down just a little bit here on Pete Racing TV. Looks like BackFire having some problems down there. Zach Comella here on the 18. Yet again, troubles. Man, he just cannot catch a darn break and can't seem to escape the power of Charlotte Motor Speedway today. Take a look at this here, running it right off turn number 3 and 4, and the CBC Sports crew just looked like they just kind of ran out of control of the steering here. The steering pinion, again, extremely tight, very hard to really work around. When they said these cars were hard to handle, they were not lying. You can see that little tag right there into the wall, and once the rear end slid out, then it was pretty much the rear end just going to kick you out and pretty much push you around a little bit. We'll take a look at the onboard camera here and see what exactly could have done differently. It looks like a lot of guys have left the building, by the way. That's Rodriguez being one of them. He is now officially confirmed to be done. He put the car into pit road and put it into the garage. He's done for the night. Right there, oh, looked like, oh yeah, right there, looked like the entire wheelbase just completely locked up to the right. We've seen this before where it locks up to the left or the right here. And the 18 looked like he locked it completely out. Looks like something broke in the steering pinion. I originally thought that was something on their wheels end, actually, that used for the racing side of things, but it turns out it's actually a legit issue in the steering pinion that kind of pops up from time to time. I did not know about. The actual NASCAR drivers have had it actually cost them races, cost them chances at victory. Tyler Reddick being one of the most popular of it. And yet again, it just seems to strike even in the virtual world. So the steering pinion goes out there for Zach Comella here. What a tough break, really showcasing some pretty good talent and control on the track here. I'd say he definitely was a good top-tier favorite here if he could have kept this one going, but I don't know if it's going to be able to go now. Loke saying you're doing an amazing job calling these races, makes it even more interesting. Thank you, sir. Oh, Brent, thanks so much, sir. I really appreciate the support, man. We try our best here. That's about the best I could say. running them back through the field, running everyone back into position here. Let's see what happens. Jeremy Richmond coming on board saying JKRM, let's go. Jeremy, great to hear from you, sir, and kind of miss seeing you on the track, man. I know you've definitely got a bit of a busy life down there as much as we do here on our end, but it certainly is kind of sad not seeing you on the track, man, or really seeing you go out there and try to race it out here. So hopefully we'll catch you back here on P-Trace TV in due time, though. Jeremy saying, thanks, man. I miss racing these cats. Yeah, I think they may miss racing you a little bit, bud. Alright, field working their way down the back straight over here. Lights will pop back on here in just a moment here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, getting Concord, North Carolina zone, Charlotte, USA. Definitely a beautiful race facility. We saw earlier on with that graphic of how big this track is, 1.5 miles in length, cookie cutter style, tri-oval design. Definitely is not a track though that I feel falls under all the cookie cutter styles that I've said before I'm not a huge fan of. I think this track gets a huge exemption, not just for the fact of its history, but for just how darn tough it is to win here no matter what car you're running. And a big runoff here now, pulling it right to the field, back on restart zone. We're back underway. Chains being moved in. Drivers now looking for positions, opting to try to get high or low lines and up for some momentum boosts here. Or Van Ness saying looking good, 77. Thaddeus Marshall, the 87 now, continuing to push on forward here. The number 14, Christian Bruce, looking to keep a hold of the grip and a hold of the track here. Wade looking to get the draft off of Carl Hamwork as well. Everyone looking towards draft zone, looking for timing spots. They're all hoping for maybe just a little bit of golden opportunities and golden strike shots. When the going gets tough and the field gets rough, that's when you know you gotta put your marbles in order and make sure this track is, and make sure you are forcing the track towards your will. Otherwise, it could go the very other way here, and that's the last thing you want to deal with here. Firing down yet again here, Thaddeus Marshall looking to maybe move a few chains up. Pushes the 14 right into the top half on the outside. Thaddeus is not playing games here. He's getting a lot of guys left and right here. That 670 horsepower being thrown to good use and put in full rhythmic mode. How much the tires he's tearing up though remains to be unchecked and unknown here, but I guarantee you more than anything, he is not letting off. He is going to whole hammer, whole hum on this one. Way now, looking for a move boost right on the bottom, right on the bottom low zone. The low zone no go area here in the 35's behind West Fuller, trying to not let that 77 get him anything else but riding down. That's a huge runoff spot. That's a huge angle here. They can really template and really mess up anyone's chances of victory and success here, and they know it. Oh, Carl Hamwork bobbled there off turn number 2, or turn 4, excuse me. Bobbled right hard off. He got way too loose. Brock's about the end of the grass yet again. He's having some trouble here. 97 having trouble staying in the stand-up zone, staying in perfect contention here. And that's kind of very unusual here. Savati, usually extremely calm, cool, and collective, very wise beyond his years for a youngster like him. Just fight this char off as much as he is, and now really having all sorts of problems tonight. Christian Bruce, Carl Hamwork here now, moving up into the field, moving up into the fray here. Both guys dead even on the fight zone. Oh, same can't be said right now though. Off turn number 2, Patrick McQuaid gets the spin, gets the tip, gets the runoff, and gets sent back down around. Oh my. And just like that, things took another turn for the worse. Zach Comella has put the car in pit road into the garage area. Unfortunately, a tough break there for him. Wish the best of luck to him next race here, or whenever he decides to come back on out. Looks like McQuaid got loose on his own. Thaddeus Marshall, really, he had no choice. He had no chance. Once McQuaid was already loose, there really was no other way to get around it. You had to either back off completely and then risk possibly having your own car getting into trouble, or you were just gonna have to accept your consequences here. The downside though is that 87 took that whole front end of the front bumper, ripped clean off here. You can see right here. Flaps actually working there. That's one thing I really love about iRacing, is that it definitely gets very realistic on that end. The flaps coming off, put in a good motion, kept the car down on the track here, did not let it get up, and the weight of it all centered high down low, keeping gravity in check and at bay, and giving it the big old finger for its troubles. Wait a minute, did I just seriously say that on television? Some of the things I say, man, I swear. Hey, that's just the thing, man. You gotta have a little fun with this stuff here. I will say real quick as well, for those at home that usually hear me kind of ranting and raving, just kind of talking through my mouth there as much as I can here, just kind of trying to stay with the show here and everything. I will say I'm maybe a little slow on that. I may be a little bit more timed and specified. Again, 200 laps here at Charlotte may not seem like a lot, but last night, 150 laps, that definitely kind of did me in a little bit on my own. So 200 laps, adding an extra 50, it can be a little bit more tricky. So I'm gonna let you guys know now that in the middle part we'll be slowing down a little bit from the first half. We're kind of getting the guys a little bit more run. When the action gets hot, we will get back with it. But when the action is kind of calm, we'll stay a little calmer, cool and collective, and let them do their work and do their stuff. filed back on around here. Everyone ready to swing this one on down. And the drivers preparing yet again for their collision and their runoff here. There's a lot of heated moments, a lot of heated big stuff here we've seen earlier on. Now things are starting to subside. Things are going to get a little bit crazier here as we continue to find ourselves a race winner here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Alexander J. Kerfon, Tom Bourne are the two front runners here. Kerfon and Bourne will have themselves a bit of a handful, a bit of a fighting chance here to really make things big and make some big moves. But are they able to keep themselves out of trouble? That remains to be seen. Well, we're about to find out. That will be continuing to go onto the field here. Lights pop up on your screen. Green flag back on out. We're back underway here, race fans. A mounting charge and some serious momentum here. The 14, Christian Roos, kind of thrown back behind the waistline yet again. Every single one of these drivers doing everything they can to kind of hold steady. Chris Papa now making a bit of a change and a comeback here. Maybe a little reunion tour, if you will. Unlike most bands usually break up, he's actually one that likes to hang around and kind of get all its money's worth. And he's not gonna hide about that. He will be dead honest here. Moving the fields on in right at the moment here. Carl Hamwork now putting one right back at the 13 of Chris Papa. Man, I tell you, Papa just can't seem to get out of the way of this stuff here. Seems to just find himself in the most inopportune spots, in the most inopportune of angles, and struggling to keep pace and keep aim. Carl Handwork's onboard camera here right now. As you can see, the 1.3 speed machine looking now to move up and fight it out hard at the 51, but again, if you don't time those corners just right, they will get the better of you, not the better of themselves. Got to move up right now to the race lead here. Still Kerfon and Gonzalez trying to hold the draft line, trying to hold position and pace in to maybe see if they can make something work on Tom Bourne. Tom trying to stay out of the area and out of that runoff. Little problem down there yet again though. That's Brock Savati in the 97. More trouble down there for him and his crew. You can see him trying to get that steering wheel to kind of square up, get back in place and back in the run and the charge of things. Car just was not having any of it though. Looking at the top speeds right now here, we're going to see it's going to be quite an interesting ordeal. Over 192 miles per hour had at the highest point so far. That was done by Robert Kenny earlier on at 10. But since then, he has actually been cut from the race and actually left out the ballpark because really he could not keep everything on all four wheels. Nor could he keep the motor in clean condition and keep himself out of trouble. As the yellow flag flies back on out, stage break commenced there. I was talking about earlier and I thought maybe it might pop up again. It definitely did pop up. A stage break is engaged here on the track yet again. That will even out the playing field and the drivers will have to see if maybe they can move some more runs and move some more momentum onto the field, onto the playing ground zone. When we come back, race fans, there is still plenty more action to be had. We are just now halfway through this one. Who's going to be able to walk away with the W, and who's going to be able to hold out to the end? Find out when we return. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, has been brought to you in part by our good friend over at Muffler Man. Muffler Man is a mechanic shop that has served customers from all over the country for over 20 years straight. They are located on 219 Columbus Road in Athens, Ohio, that performs all sorts of services for all various vehicles, including exhaust maintenance, custom bending, shocks, struts, brake maintenance, oil changes, tire services, and more. You can call Muffler Man at 740-592-3593. Again, that's 740-592-3593 to get your vehicle serviced today. A big thank you from BackFire Sim Racing, as well as us here at P-Series TV. And right now, everyone heading into pit road here, so we're going to keep a close eye on some of these guys here and see who gets the better of the runs and the better of the positions. Field is in pit road right now. We're looking on at the guys trying to see who gets out first. Carl Hamwork stays on out for the run. Tom Bourne will get ahead of Alexander J. Kerfon. Got into pit road a little sooner. Got out of pit road a little quicker. May have took a little extra fuel though for Kerfon and maybe a little bit of extra set there to kind of stretch out the race run. I think he's very well aware of that, very keen on that. Looking at our racing zone here as well there, folks, we do have a 3-hour time limit on the race. And we just now got halfway in. We're 1 hour and 22 minutes into this, so I'm not pointing anything at any of the drivers, but I may want to be a little bit concerned if I was them, because here's the deal. If it goes full 3 hours and we haven't hit that green-white checkered scenario or gotten one in, this race is over. It will end, so now becomes a matter of consistency and control and avoiding that potential hazard here. We've seen it before where a time limit can get the best of the driver and can get the best of a team and a crew. They're gonna have to stay on the game and playing on the stop here. Robert Van Ness still rooting on that 77, saying a great stop to the 77. It was a great stop. The 96 of Eddie Morris here, going to be one of the last guys going in and out. Looked like maybe doing a little bit of last minute repairs, a little bit of a last minute damage control on that thing. I don't blame him. If I was him too, I'd probably be very focused on keeping up with the controls and up with the field here. Field gonna pace themselves back in line, back in charge, back on the spot. Tom Bourne yet again gonna be a race leader, and man, I tell you one thing, he's just been ragging in he's been just rolling the ragged edge. Absolutely no quit, no hang, no shallow ends. Just pure, unalterated horsepower and dead focus. But is it going to last out? is it going to be able to continue to pace forward and pace strong and through? Off of corner number 3 and 4 here, down to the front straightaway they go. Back to the green flag action. We hit it up here, and Tom Warren will lead him on down. Ricky Gonzalez and Wes Fuller right behind him with Christian Roos and Matthew McQuaid now in the hunt. There are absolutely no gimmies here. You either win it out or you lose it out. One way or another, you're going to find yourself in a hard charge pause situation. Thaddeus Marshall yet again, man. We saw him earlier on. He had a little bit of a damage on that car. Really pushing some momentum and pushing some speeds to the limits and through the test zone. Every single one of these drivers, man, do not give an inch and do not care whatsoever about losing out. The only thing they know is to go right through it or through it. They'll hold a line down. They'll make sure they stay out of trouble when it comes to racing quick and racing clean. But that doesn't mean they don't have a trouble about also literally making you think twice about over accelerating or overdoing it here. Looking out for the camera angles there below, you saw a lot of movement, a lot of bit of a handling situation there possessed it in. The 13 of Chris Papa now firing off with the 26 of Blake Howell, the 96 of Eddie Morris coming off that pit road exit, looking to possibly make a little bit of a center shot here. Looking to take full aim and full progression. Close corner side-by-side battles here. Every single one of these drivers right now in a heated debate. Neither one looking to give out to the other. They only want one thing, and that is to go right to the front or right through positions to gain maximum potential and maximum momentum. Wes Fuller, man, talk about really hanging on by a needle, by a thread. This entire race has been completely all over the place and been bent through and out of line, out of control. But you cannot expect anything less but just pure substance and speed from him and Coach Kerfonkamp. And even Christian Roos now, this last pit stop looked like he actually used up a little bit of a time zone, a little bit of a smart strategy-based booking here. He really waited it out to these last half. Now he's on a full run spree. Out of that, you heard what I said earlier about the fact that we only get a 3-hour time limit here, and you can't really be making too many mistakes here. Fuller taking over the second place spot right now. Tom Bourne, well, let's just say he's I think he's got his own area code right now. He is leading this thing in by a mile-long length. Looking to dive him double around here, double back in, double filed yet again. 3 double files here. We've got a pack of drivers now on the shunt. It's crunch time here on the Pizza Racing TV, and these drivers know that all too well. And I think now is a better time than anything to introduce to you again the old time, the old feel, the old advantage here. Let's crank it up a little bit here and have some fun with these guys. Let's see them do their work and make their magic happen on the show. You gotta love it when you get a little high on the crank, a little high on the speed, and really let these guys have at it a little bit here. The power, the speed, the momentum, it's all there, and it is a pleasure to hear, and it's a pleasure to come out with. Can't help but just keep seeing these guys really roaring these things to life, really putting on a show here with a little 3 wide slow mixed in between. Wait just a minute. Alexander Griffon, a deep dive, big move on the back straightaway, hitting it hard around the 87 and the 51. Thaddeus and Carl, I don't think we're expecting him to do that move here, nor were they expecting him to make a hard charge at Wes Fuller. Fuller here now in a deep dive scenario. This is a very bad place to be, very tough situation to hit up. Fuller knows if he's gonna have any chance to really keep himself out of control, keep himself out of problematic zones, out of bad territory, he's gonna have to really watch this one. Unbelievable maneuvers and unbelievable control of these drivers and these cars here. No one is left off the show and really left out of the playing field, to say the least. They've been just completely hammering down, giving everything they got, trying to find some momentum and find something they can use to their fullest potential. With 120 laps now in out of 200, this is starting to really take aim and take shape. It looks like the field is starting to pace this one. This is exactly what they need to do. Not worry about anymore about those cautions, not worry about anymore about the spins. Just let the cars handle themselves, feel the momentum, feel the intensity, and let them do the work. Don't try to force yourselves into a bad situation. Just let the car work its own work. Let the car work its own line, its own play. Like in football, sometimes you need a good sometimes you just need a good quarterback to just simply tell the team, we got this, let's follow our lead, follow our command, and we will let everything else work its own plays out. Hey, you're probably wondering at home right now, where the heck is our race leader at? Well, let's just say Tom Borden is somewhere else right now, 4 seconds and 2/10 away from Alexander Griffon. And if it wasn't kind of obvious really why he is so far ahead, I think I may be able to present this to you here real quick. This is just straight up nasty, man. Just nasty stuff he is doing to this track and he's doing to these drivers. What he is giving it to them right now is absolutely crazy. Well, that's the ticket. That's the thing. Like you saw those battles earlier on, a lot of those guys were just getting way too heated, way too on the nose and on the charge. Can't over accelerate. Can't get way too far out in line. You've got to be careful about it. And unfortunately, they weren't too careful about letting him get away, so they ended up costing themselves more than anything. Eric Gonzalez now right out in the battle back yet again. Thaddeus Marshall in the 87. This is your battle for 7th yet again. And both drivers seem to be innocuous and seem to be in the same circumstance and situation here. They both have had some good runs and some good fights all around from the start here, but things have been kind of slowing up a little bit here or there. Maintaining grip, maintaining line and segments definitely can make the biggest difference between strength and success. So you get a good look from our wide angle cam here. The blimp cam now being put up for grabs here. Griffon just ahead of Carl Handworth there. And of course, Tom Byrne out of our screen, out of our sight, and out of mind at this point. Just kind of let him do his own thing until he decides to let everyone else take his own thing there. Looks like a little bit of a grapple maneuver here as Patrick McQuaid sneaks that 77 back into the fight, into the fray here. And it seems like we had a really long stint there where drivers are having a bit of a problem staying out of trouble and staying out of the area of disaster. Now, it seems like everything is just kind of revamped and repurposed itself. Now all of a sudden it's a little bit more calm, cool, and collective. Now all of a sudden it's definitely poured on the field and poured on the momentum. McQuaid and Marshall still at each other's game here, and you can see the Muffler Man 77 moving some moves and moving to the groove. He forces the 87 around and downtown and makes a nice corner off pass. Talk about just pure adrenaline just running through these brains here right now, man. These guys are just not feeling anything other than just the cold, hard, it's sweat and tears that is in that wheel right now. And I say tears because they don't know whether or not this could end up being good or bad from a lineup perspective here. Still at it with each other here. Neither driver giving an inch, but there is a bigger battle too going on up front. Blake Hall carrying handwork now. Well, let's just say they weren't done yet. Christian Roos, West Fuller doing much of the same. Battle side by side, back and forth action here on Pizza Racing TV, and this is something you usually don't get too much of anymore from Charlotte Motor Speedway until now. Until now, and things just continue to pick up and really continue to really charge on around here. Only 11 drivers left on the track here. Chris Papa and Eddie Morris really the only drivers kind of left out of this fight here. The Max Graphics 96 really having all sorts of problems here in his Chevrolet Camaro. Whereas versus the guy that's still in the race leader, Tom Byrne, you can see he's definitely a bit of an opposite here with his Ford Mustang. And it makes you wonder though when the pit roads and the pit strategies are going to be coming into play. Well, let's take a look at pit stops here, and you can see it's pretty much all over the place. Most of this has been fuel run, but you can see right here, distance-wise, you're looking at a solid 30 laps or so. Plus, that can really give you the biggest shake and the biggest advantage. I'd say probably more than anything, you get about 40, 42 laps in before they'll then have to really worry about fuel. But this is turning more into that endurance section than more of that cliche, if you will. Forcing drivers to manipulate and place on time and on throttle. Handwork now yet again going to have some company here. It looks like West Fuller deciding to opt into this battle yet again. Titletown Racing Boys just putting it up there on the 51 core machines. These drivers absolutely hitting everything they've got. They've hit their marks. They've thrown these things into the coop, and now they're just seeing who is the biggest of all. The biggest, the baddest, the toughest, the strongest, the race readiest. Say what you will and whoever you want to go for. Either way, it's an absolute crazy town show to say the least. Ricky Gonzalez now kind of slowing back down in place. Now kind of getting himself a little bit of a fair shot, a little bit of a fair shake here. Maybe getting a little bit opportunistic, looking for some openings or two. Down to only 67, 68 laps remaining here. 6-7 when they get it right around the next track here. It's surprising to me still that they've been such clear cut and so under control now. I would have thought that would have been the complete opposite. That would have been a bit of a more of a little bit of a temper tantrum, a bit of a runoff zone here for these drivers. But no, it's been the complete opposite. Now things have kind of dictated around, paced themselves in. You see a little bit of movement here from Carl Handwerk in the 51 here, trying to avoid company here as he continues to drive it on down. Gonzalez looking for the inside run here though on Wes Fuller. May have something coming up for him. Inside zone, makes the run, makes it possible. Got a great burst of speed. Some nice control, nice consistency, and look at now McQuaid back at it. You can tell me some of these guys are the best they're feeling, best their lineup. I don't know what you're thinking, because really right now I'm seeing some heavy hitters and some heavy charges from every single one of these drivers here. Ellen Floor saying my Talltown boys are rocking. Yes, they're rolling too while they're at it. Whoa! Yeah, a little bit of a sweat back off there. A little switch off, switch down around town. Wes Fuller nearly losing it in the turn. Mama 4, we neither jinxed them there, I'm telling you. Right now, currently, Carl Handwerk kind of lowering off the field a little bit. Gonzalez now trying to get a little bit of speed back yet again. Wes Fuller also in that charge and still really been an optimistic title spot here, title zone for the Titletown Racing boys. Some of the other cats right now as well kind of keeping themselves in play here. Alexander J. Kerfon still 5.5 plus seconds back of Tom Bourne. Tom just completely really ran away from the field and didn't even bother giving him a greeting card. Guess they thought St. Patty's Day wasn't important enough for a holiday. Field still vicariously trying to get some momentum going here, trying to see if they can find something here to work on around. Field slowing down yet again here, and the battles continue to rage on. Still nobody able to escape and able to get out of circumstances and situations here. The only way to do so is just really avoidance and control of the cars. And they know that all too well. They've been trying to stay focused, kind of stay clear and cut on their moves and on their runs. Definitely getting a little bit crazier, a little bit more out of control. And I just get the feeling that once we get kind of closer to the end here, it's just going to get more and more hectic. There's going to be a lot more battles kind of stretched out, because the endurance tactic here you have to really take when you're running on this kind of track, this kind of situation. About 50 laps now remaining here, and now lap traffic now becoming a bit of a factor. I can't believe I'm putting lap traffic and Eddie Morris in the same sentence, but the thing is, he is now part of that situation in that circumstances here. There's not a whole lot he can really do about it, not a whole lot he can really bring to the table, especially considering how Tom Bourne and Alexander J. Kerfan have been. Speed's just been so conservative, so controlling, and so overall just outlandish. I mean, the biggest thing is just kind of staying with it, staying with the momentum. Still though, each driver with their setup, with their shot. Kerfan looks like he will have to blink out of the first bunch. Blake Howell will have to blink as well. Carl Handwork, Ricky Gonzalez, and Wes Fuller, they will stay on out. They will continue to drive it on by. They're not going to give in to the temptation. They want to try to find a way to outrun Tom Bourne here, and I think they're trying to find a way really to get some more speed on him, to catch him up for the last bit. They know they are in deep trouble if they don't get something figured out now. This is a very tall order, and they need to be on full control and full king mode. And it looks like Carl Handwork's going to have to open the door up yet again. Gets out in pit road here. So really, it is only Gonzalez, Bourne, Roos that have not left the end here. Unreal, to say the least. I would not have thought that would have been the case here for this race. I really would have thought that Tom Bourne would have been one of the first guys in there, and he will be the one that goes in now. Ricky Gonzalez and Roos all hitting in there. Carl Handwork and them is still in pit road. They're trying to get out of there. And the drivers now have engaged fully. They are now pulling the strings back around. Eddie Morris now back on lead lap after his pit stop. Kerfan, the other one that was right around town, and Tom Bourne. I don't even believe what I'm seeing, but he's going to go out. He did not take tires. He's staying on fuel. He's just going with fuel. I do not believe what I'm seeing, but this is insane to me. Well, actually, he's not on fuel. Actually, he did take 2 tires. Actually, he did take all 4 tires. Excuse me. I thought he only took I thought he only took fuel and got out of there. No, he took all 4 because Griffon is catching him. He's trying to get him a run back up to him. Might not be enough time though here in this case here. Carl Handwork now a little bit of a tough spot and ordeal as he goes battling with Blake Howell. Alright, sorry about the technical difficulties there, folks. Had something kind of going on wrong on our audio end as well as our mouse end. We had to actually replug a few things in here to get this audio and everything working back together. Looks like it is working okay now. So, while we were away there was a huge battle going on there as the drivers were getting from pit road on down to the straights and onto the runs. Getting themselves back centered away and trying to get some heat into those tires. And boy, did they get some heat in those tires, maybe a little bit more and then some. Each driver making their moves, making them fight quickly as can be and giving it all they've got. And now the battle still rages on. Christian Roos and Ricky Gonzalez yet again. Mono a mono. Each driver here right now looking for the ends, looking for a spectrum or two to fight off with. Gonzalez trying to get something on that 14 machine. Ricky, I think really at this point has just been doing everything he can just to stay out of trouble and stay in play. We've hit the 2-hour marker now here. This is about the same time we had here last time on the show. With about 40 laps to go though, still anybody's guess who can bring this one to the end. Blake Howell in the 26 now has got company coming towards his way. Knows he could be losing his little spot, his little top honors here in a minute. Coming up close, coming up clean to the pack, to the field. The smoke pit 14 now. Roos trying to let him into this, trying to let him feel the pit of doom and feel the pit of control that he has always been known for. Now has the run to get some pass on by the number 26. That's a huge playoff move there, making a big corner off entry exit there. Nicely done. 16th on board, still your race leader, and you know, surprisingly enough, he started 17th. He's 16 spots up. He's in the 16, and he's currently the hard charger of the night. So I guess number 16 is his lucky number today. It really lives up to his reputation as his code and number and his everything else. Ricky Gonzalez, the 48, now trying to make some moves, make some runoff here, get some play in position here. Titletown boys going for everything they got, trying to hold on down for the dear life zone. And the number 14, Arus, keeping it in touch, keeping it in play with Gonzalez. Man, neither one of these guys are giving an inch. They're not giving anything up at all. We're still holding back. Everybody right behind him here is looking for any kind of run, any kind of momentum kicker he can find. Just trying to hold the lines down, trying to hold down the control of the car and hang in for everything it's been. He's been so solid today here, but now Gonzalez now looking to make it work a little bit harder, just a little bit more maybe. Big pass off on the front straightaway here. A very tricky little spot to do the pass in with, but he finds it nicely done. No aim or troubles there. Fired it real quick and fired off extremely cleanly. Takes the advantage away. Meanwhile, behind all of them, Thaddeus Marshall and Carl Handwork, well, those two just can't seem to leave each other alone a little bit for not much longer than anything else. We're down to about 31 laps remaining when Pomborn comes across that finish line here. The 87 of Marshall and Kerfan and the 51, right, or excuse me, the 87 of Marshall and then the 99 of Kerfan. Two completely different ends of the spectrum, two different ends of the track here. Handwork is the one that is right behind Marshall in the 51. And Handwork really has been just a solid key figure, solid key driver on his overall speed, control, and stardom here. And you can see right now, Charlotte, it's starting to get to the point where they're having a little bit of a hard time keeping these cars under control and not burning them up too quickly. They're having to go from the top side to from bottom to now just being up top side more than anything. They don't want to get too close to it because this is what happens here. You give an opening here like what Thaddeus just did, and then next thing you know, it could be a whole other story. Thaddeus, and Handwork nearly colliding with one another. Worlds almost collided there. That could have been bad. That was certainly not the case there. Both drivers staying out of trouble here. The 99 of Alexander Jacob Fon here, and the 96 of Eddie Morris. And a Haas pause, a last minute dash effort here for both drivers. Seemingly nobody left out of the hands working out of control. They've done a great job throughout this race and really stabilizing everything in for the final. Final legs of this race, the final laps closing in carefully and quickly here. It's not a whole lot left these drivers can do. There's not a whole lot left these guys can really hang on to. 25 to go. This is where some of the best moments and the best racers come into play and really take center control of. Ricky Gonzalez, Christian Bruce now there, all in play and in contention. Seemingly an innocuous task and an extremely tough call to make here. Carfon nowhere to go, and Tom Bourne just completely pushing this thing to its fullest potential and its fullest limits, not letting one thing bug him today. I mean, it really shouldn't come as a surprise here. Blake Howell and them still at each other's game, playing at each other's throats here. Carl Handwork and Thaddeus Marshall, man, these two just don't go away from each other here. Thaddeus right now trying last minute efforts, last ditch shots here. He just continues to make something work on that 51, the 87. Well, not giving an inch on our crossover here. And this time for Handwork, he's not going to save that one. He gets it right back on the track here, squared away. But the trouble and the problems and the damage have already been done. Absolutely nothing he can do about that in this case. Like how on that Boogity 26 right now, last ditch efforts, last minute moves here now to try to take down Christian Bruce here. Knows that he's in on innocuous task and a very tough spot and tough call here. Can't blame him really just for driving the wheels off this thing, trying to hope for the best here, trying to hope for some kind of area or movement here. The Fords and the Chevys have been just completely bashing it around and slinging it straight right or left here all day long. Bruce representing for Sioux City, Iowa here. Good to see another fellow Iowan back out on the circuit, of course. Good to see him making some moves here. He's made a good charge and a good runoff here from start to finish. And on that front straightaway, you can see the momentum starting to clear up even further from Blake Howell. Ricky Gonzalez really kind of in a bit of a no man's land get-go here. He's been trying to hold down, he's trying to hold off for as long as he can do and give as much as he can get back. It just still has not been the same though for it. Yeah, you can hear actually the cars now. They are starting to actually clutch the cars in a bit. You can hear them trying to save fuel. When you hear a driver literally goes completely off gas and literally the gas just completely taken out of question, out of play, that means fuel is limited and fuel is short, and they know they're in trouble. Bruce isn't saving fuel up, neither is Gonzalez, but Blake Howell, I heard that 26, he slowed up pretty hard there. Oh, he actually got off the gas and closed it up a bit. Doesn't seem to be doing it now, though, in this case. Alexander Jacob Fon right now looking for an opening around that 96 of Eddie Morris. I know he doesn't want to pass in a teammate, a fellow brother, but really, what else does he have left he can do? He's got no choice. You got no choice, and you're kind of in that situation. One has to get the one over the other. Hal, man, I'm telling you, you listen to that throttle rhythm, it is just completely off and clutched in when he hits in this turn. Listen here. You hear it right there. That's right there. That's what I'm talking about. You hear that clutch in, that makes he's just shutting down the engine. He's shutting down the pipes there that get the fuel to charge up the engine even more, get the block going. What it does is it pretty much helps him give more fuel in the run and more fuel on the car. He's doing everything he can. He knows that he's coming up on the final legs of this race and the final laps of it. This has been an absolute war and fight for every single driver, really, except for the second half going of 16 and Tom Bourne. Tom Bourne, the second half, man, he was just left alone. And he was just left to do whatever he felt like, do his bidding, have a cup of coffee, watch the whole Godfather trilogy, whatever he wanted to do. It didn't matter. He just took full aim, full charge, full rung. He could have just gone in and got all the fuel and he would have been just fine. That's exactly what he did, I think. You can hear that fuel line. It's not clutching it either, so he knows he's actually in a proverbial spot, proverbial position. And just take a look at his little photo he's got for himself there. I don't know what SpongeBob has to do with anything, but you can just hear that throttle rhythm, that throttle control, perfectly indicated. No over usage, no over taxing of the fuel or the car. Just nice rhythmic order. Nine laps remain. And this one's closing up quick and it's closing up fast. Shop might be closed down for the night here in a little bit. But the real story, in my opinion, right now is that 26 boogity of Spike Howell and then the 14 of Christian Ruiz, or one of them going to be able to finish this race out from fuel line anyway. The fuel is starting to click and fire off. We've seen before what it can do here on Pizza Race TV. It's happened before here. Yeah, you can see that off throttle rhythm and off throttle momentum there. That Howell is trying to get of all the fuel. Clutching in and out, the constant throttle usage and momentum is taking full aim and full center stage here on Pizza Race TV. These guys are exhausted. They've endured a lot on this track, and they know that this is the absolute toughest ordeal, the toughest of races to put up with. Don Bourne, though, with only 5 laps left to go here, it's just left high and dry. No one to fight him, no one to deal with. Alexander and Jake are fun, putting on a great run and a great show, to say the least. He did not give an inch to him at all here. Sadly, though, it's one thing to give everything you got and put everything to its limits, but it's another to find yourself in the proverbial wrong end of the spectrum and trying to get yourself a chance here. Final laps now. Tom Bourne seemingly just left all alone. No one to fight him, no one to deal with. Pretty much just been his from the get-go. He'll bring it right off of turn number 4 this time on by. You'll see green flag high in the air with only just 2 to go. And Christian Roos now. Last ditch effort, last ditch charge. Blake Howell hoping not to end on his radar, hoping to give himself one last chance here. The last couple laps here, Roos has gotten the better of Howell. Time wise though, I don't know if that's going to be enough, if it's going to be enough time to get him here. Off of turn number 4, like the white flag high in the air here. We've got 1 to go. Roos and Howell, last minute fight, last minute dash. Pulling the reins back a little bit. Roos couldn't make the pass there. Howell blocked it. Not only did he block it, he pretty much forced him to make a move off it and make a charge from it. Howell needs to get just one more set of laps in, one more finish off the ends and off the spectrum, but off of turn number 3 down at turn number 4. Checkered flag. It's gonna go to Tom Bourne. Alexander Jacob will go home second place here as the fuel starts to run off on his end, but there's a battle for third here coming up on the final legs. Hal trying to hold back Roos. Roos will come across the line in the 4th slot. Hal will hold him back. What a race. And there he is. Your race winner here tonight, Charlotte Motor Speedway, Concord, North Carolina, is going to see some G Fuel action from the 16. It is a victory celebration about to commence. Take a look at our race results now, popping up on your screen, presented in part by Muffler Man tonight. Tom Bourne, solid night of action, solid night of racing for him, and the endurance of the control that he brought to the table outstretched, and it was far none to anyone else. Alexander Kerfon comes away second, third to Blake Howell, 4th to Christian Roos, 5th to Ricky Gonzalez, 6th to Wes Fuller, 7th to Thaddeus Marshall, 8th to Carl Handwork, 9th to Patrick McQuaid, and 10th to Chris Papa. It rounds out your top 10 in this one here, as the field now will be coming down here and talking with us here. Top 3 drivers join us in the proverbial pit road area here as their top three now join us in real quick, ladies and gentlemen, here in third tonight. Blake Howell in the 26th, man, just to stretch out the fuel, stretch out the lane, coming away here in a third spot. Congratulations to that, Blake. And it seemed like we were hearing it pretty clearly. You were clutching in quite hard there to get this car just a little bit more of fuel in there. How was the car handling on that last bit?
It was interesting. I wasn't really worried about the handling throughout. It was handling really bad for the first 150 laps or so. But once that last pit stop came on, I made an air pressure adjustment at the end, and I had to save 4 laps to make it to the end of this one. I ended up doing it.
For sure there. I know there's a lot of fight there going between you and Bruce to the line there on those couple laps there. Last ditch effort though, coming into turn number one, I believe it was, or two, and you actually managed to block off the run coming from Bruce there. It seemed like he had a chance there, but you managed to block it down and kind of keep him in check and in bay. What was it like there when you saw that happen? Did you think it was pretty much all locked up for you?
Well, that was a move I was thinking about for probably 5 laps before it even happened. I thought I could stay out ahead of him to where that wouldn't be a worry, but he closed in on me so quickly in the last 5 laps that I had to do it if I wanted to keep the spot.
For sure there. Nevertheless, so a solid third place finish here, kind of giving yourself a chance to take something home down in Tennessee. So, Blake, as you come away here third here at Charlotte, who do you want to thank for this?
I want to thank Chris Papa at 1-3 Speed for giving me the opportunity to run this week. I want to thank Boogity Media, new sponsor on for the week, um, Rogue Energy, and just everybody watching that lets us do this.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, here, Blake, congratulations here for your third place finish here tonight, sir. Congratulations, and we will catch you next time out on the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here, Blake Howell coming away third tonight on the show here. Second will go, of course, to Alexander J. Kerfon. And Alexander J. Kerfon now joins me here in the second place spot here, coming out of his car. And Alex, it seemed like all around in that first half, you had speed, you had control, and you had momentum, but it did not quite translate to the second half. Bourne just completely ran over this field, and I think they steamrolled a few more folks down here on this track.
Oh yeah, that first half was really fun. A lot of close quarters battling. Uh, had a few cautions, had some good pit stops, able to get track position back on him. But I think I'm not sure which restart it was. I got shuffled back behind a few different cars, and he was able to start making his run off into the sunset. Man, my car didn't feel the same after that. I think the dirty air did a number on my tires.
Certainly could have, well, and certainly could have made things a lot more difficult. I know, obviously, here we have talked about the dirty air and how much it got kind of cleaned up here with the fact these next gen cup cars kind of give you a bit of a chance and a fair shake at things. But at the same time, there might be something we may need to look down the road at too, which is if someone gets kind of caught in that trapped air like a track like this here, I mean, it definitely seems like it can be a bit of a handful for the long run, doesn't it, too?
Yeah, it really plays a factor into your tire life, and uh, keeping your nose into that clean air really keeps those tires in good condition. It's a lot better in this next gen car overall, I feel like, but uh, no matter what you do, I feel like you're not going to be able to completely eliminate the dirty air problem.
Certainly indeed. Well, nevertheless, though, Alex, obviously keeping the control and the status quo up for you and your team here. Still second place finisher tonight, so who do you want to thank here for that one?
I'd like to thank JKR. I'd like to thank Jeremy for getting me on the team, giving me this opportunity. I'd like to thank all my teammates. They're awesome. Brock, Aaron, Matt, Jeremy. Uh, yeah. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Kerfans Market, JR Mobile Detailing, Serenity Sun Tanning, Bam Auto. There's a few others, but I love you all. You know that.
A lot of love out there and a lot more coming around to the people here today. So, Alex, congratulations on the second place finish and a big thank you again for coming on board.
Yep, thank you. Great broadcast.
Thank you, sir. Alexander J. Kerfon, ladies and gentlemen, for JKR Motorsports coming away here with a solid field day in position. And ladies and gentlemen, Tom Bourne, your race winner here tonight. Although he's not quite with us here on the camera here, nor on the voice activation here, so I guess he's going to call this one a day and call this one a night. He's going to just park it down here in the garage and just kind of avoid the media here. So that's all on him there. It's all his choice. No big deal there. But race fans, what a night of action. What a showcase here from the driver's perspective and everything around here. A big thank you again to Muffler Man for everything and the support brought to the table here. Big shout out to all the drivers that tuned on in here for this one and the fans as well. We love you guys. Tomorrow night, we complete the 4. And we'll see what happens from there. But for now, I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time here on P Race TV.